Alright, sorry about that. I lost battery power there for a minute. I think what we missed is I took just my blending stump with no previous pencil and just kind of blended these areas a little bit. It has enough black on there that I can do that and it doesn't hurt anything. Alright, now I'm going to put the last little bit I'm going to do here. I am gonna shade a little bit here. I'm gonna make the edges of the little wings white, but I want to put a little bit of value here to kind of show some separation there. Kind of fade it out a little bit so the strawberry pops up. And on her bows too, I forgot about those. Okay, gonna go in and put a little bit more in at the end here. Pop them out. Alright, now the white. You could use gray at this point if you wanted to. The gray, I'm not always 100% on using the gray because you want to leave the contrast. You want to let the tone of the paper be the gray. On the one that I did of Oliver, I did use a little bit of gray in the hair, and I don't know that it really helped all that much, so I'm going to try this time without the gray and just use the white. The white you should reserve for the places that are the very brightest in the picture, and that's it. Because you want, like I said, you want the tone of the paper to become the middle grays. So for the hair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here into the middle of this highlight area on the hair, and I'm going to start adding the little white highlights in. And I'm starting along the middle and flicking out because that's comfortable. And it gives the right kind of tapered edge to that white. Okay, so I'm flicking both directions. Just like that. Okay, and I'm not overlapping all that much onto the black because I want the gray paper to show through just a little bit. Okay, so there's the highlight on that side. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and this is really difficult to do upside down as I'm doing it right now, so kind of bear with me if the lines aren't maybe as exactly accurate as they should be. Okay, so there we have, there's the white in the hair. Now on her backpack, I wanted to do a little bit of white along the edges of the wings because I wanted those to have a little white cast to them along the edges of the hair here, at the tips of the hair. You have to be kind of careful. The white will cover your black ink lines, so you have to be kind of careful not to go over them too much or it's gonna leave some marks. Okay, so I'm gonna take this blending stump, has a tiny bit of blue on it. Ideally you'd use a clean one, and just kind of blend this out. And if you do ever need to clean a blending stump, all you have to do is get a nail file and twirl it while you kind of file it, or some sandpaper and do the same thing, twirl it a little bit while you file it, and that will clean off the blending stump. And it will also, like if you have one that just doesn't seem like it's working anymore, it's probably got a buildup of the waxy colored pencil on the end, and by using the nail file that will help kind of eliminate that. I'm going to go back in here and do just a little bit more because I blended it and maybe blended it too much. Okay, so there's that. Now, on the edges of her backpack right here, I'm gonna hit just a little bit of white in there. Any place you might use like a white gel pen, be a good place to put this white in with the colored pencil. Okay, I think that's enough with the white. You want to be pretty sparing with it. You don't want it to be a whole ton. Because really, if you look at black and white pictures, the true whites are very few. So you really don't want to get crazy with it. Otherwise, it'll wash the whole thing out. And you won't have the charcoal effect. What you'll have is, you know, a black and white pencil effect. And it'll be too much. Okay, so there we have that, and then I'm gonna put a little bit, this isn't maybe dark enough over here. I'm going back with my black now, and I'm just kinda hitting my darkest places in the picture just one more time to make sure they really are the darkest places in the picture. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna put a little shadow in underneath where she's sitting. I didn't do it earlier. But I'm going to put one in underneath where she's sitting. And I have kind of like direct light right now, so I'm going to kind of put the shadow on both sides. You could put the shadow to one side, or you can put it kind of general underneath. Those of you who like to have a specific light source, you could do it to one side. And that would go with the highlights too. Like I just did this with a general sort of overall middle light tone, but you could have a left or right light source. If you do like having a left or right light source, I would really suggest doing a little bit of practice, like setting up a spotlight and really looking at some objects. Like maybe if you like to do people, like maybe get one of your kids' dolls or a Barbie doll or something and set it up where it has where you can look at it and kind of see where the light hits things, and you'll learn, it'll help you kind of learn how to get the really good realistic effects of where the light hits, because there's some surprising places that where shadows are and where light really bounces back and reflects up on things that you don't see unless you're really looking at, have spent some time looking at some objects with a spotlight on them. Alright. Now this is one of those places where you're not really going to know what it looks like until that OMS dries on the cardstock, because you can't get a good sense for what's wet and what's actually shadow. So I'm just kind of putting in some finishing touches here, kind of extending out what she's sitting on. Okay, you could, if you wanted to, put some shadow up in here, but I don't think I'm going to. I kind of like it the way that it is, and I think it's done. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll give it a try. It is probably something you might want to practice a couple of times, but it's really fun to do, and actually it's one of the faster ways, I think, to color things in. Sorry, I just spotted an area that I wanted to give one more touch to. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, like I said, and if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email from my blog, or here on Vimeo, or on Flickr, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you. Bye.